Hi guys, my name is Cayo Pratomo and I am a postgraduate student in Mercu Buana University, Jakarta. And now I will present my research paper study, that is the effect of liquidity on firm value with the profitability as intervening variable. And this is the case study of registered banking on the Indonesian Stock Exchange in 2000. Banking industry has significant role in supporting economic growth and creating the state equity. All sector requires banking to support the economic activity, and that can be said without bank, the economic activity of the country will not running so well. In the process of the banking management manage their assets to gain some profit, they will find some risk in their liquidity management, and their liquidity is very vulnerable and can be suddenly drained out from a bank. If that happens, there can be a bank liquidity crisis, and that will cause the bank defaults of the most of its obligations. And so you can see in this slide there's four factors that will determine what is the liquidity risk on the bank in progress, the way management manage their assets. And the first one is the third-party funds or the deposit funds, and the second is the cash reserve funds, and the third is the liquidity gap, and the last one is the non-performing loan. The profitability effect to the firm value, as you can see in here, is the profitability of the companies increase. It will also directly increase the value of the company, because the company seems can make more profit from their asset. And if the company's profitability is less than before, or just even minus profitability, it will affect the company's value directly. And you can see there is a very interesting thing that we found in the 2018 and in the banking industry's average rate. And for the first graph, you can see this is the price earning ratio. That is mean this is the value of the firm. You can see from 2014 and until 2018, even this ratio showing a little bit decrease, but the overall the price earning ratio of the bank in Indonesian Stock Exchange show an increase from the year after year. But it shows a different phenomena in the banking profitability. In here we are using for the return on asset ratio. You can see in here on the red graphic, it from 2014 until 2018, the ROA bank is showing a decrease in the. And now we will discuss about the research method. On this study, we will using the path analysis statistics study, and for the variables there will be 6 variables. Now 4 variables will be independent variable, and 1 variable will dependent variable, and one last variable will be the intervening variable. For the independent variable, we have a deposit, cash reserve, liquidity gap, and non-performing loan. And for the dependent variable, we will use price earning ratio. And the last, for the intervening variable, we will use the return on. For the operational definition of the each variable, you can see in here and also in my paper that all of the 6 variables we will have explained about the dimension and about the indicator, how to calculate it, how to divide it, how to percentage it with the ratio, and all these variables will using a scale of ratio. The research population on 2018, there's total of 45 banks listed in Indonesian Stock Exchange, and from those 45 banks, after we exclude the bank that doesn't qualify with as to be our samples, we have 42 banks that is qualified as a research sample on this study. And so for the path analysis, we are using two types of the regression, and the first of the structural equation model will be determine the relationship between the independent variable to the mediating variable or the intervening variable. And this is the equation. It's ROA plus deposit plus cash plus gap liquidity and plus NPL and error 1. And then after we are running two-time equation model, and we will using a Sobel test to test the variable, the intervening variable effect on the dependent variable. And a variable could be called as intervening variable if the variables follow the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. You can see in the table 2, this is the result of the structural equation model 1 and model 2. And you can see in here for the structural equation model 1, the R-square value of the model 1 shows how much the influence of the independent variable has on the dependent variable simultaneously. Yeah, and this slide is still related from the slide table before. And for the structural equation model 1, based on the IJSR testing of the individual parameters model 1, the result of individual testing of deposit indicate the value of 0.007 with significant level of 0.972, or it's more than 0.05, which means the deposit have positive but not significant effect on return on assets. The next table will show you the analysis of direct and indirect effect of the independent variable to the dependent variable. Yeah, and this analysis is needed to determine the effect of the independent variables on the dependent variables directly or through the intervening variable. Yeah, and for the last table, this is the table that showed the Sobel test that I already explained before. It will be explained about how significant for the each variable of the independent variable affect the dependent variable through the intervening variable. For the variable result 1, this is the effect of the deposits on ROA. The deposits have the positive effect on ROA, which means the higher the deposits, and the bank ROA will be increased as well this way. And for the effect of the cash reserve on ROA, the cash effect on ROA is not significant positive, which means the higher cash out the bank will be increased also. And the variable result 2 this is the effect of the non-performing loan on the ROA. And the high NPL value at the bank indicates the poor credit management, and that can lead to increase the bad risk of the bad loans that will because the bank profitability will decrease. And the effect of the ROA on PAR, it will be shows the greater of ROA will be make greater for the price. For the first, the conclusion is the liquidity consisting of independent variables can influence the company's price-earning ratio through the profitability as an intervening variable for the bank listed in Indonesian Stock Exchange. And conclusion number 2, the ROA positive significant effect on PAR, and NPL have a negative and significant effect on PAR using the ROA as the intervening variable.